press conference and actually.
Finally, I thought bishop h3, knight b3,
Bishop
and maybe
g2.
bishop g2.
Yeah, bishop g2, exactly.
And I thought this is potentially quite good for me. But I mean, it's a huge mess, but I think after queen c5, queen g6, it works out for me. Knight h4, queen g4.
I didn't see the defense already.
Yeah, bishop f4, probably bishop f3 is... No, bishop f3 is not made, but I can take
yeah,
ef. The problem is I can take ef, and knight g2, f3, I'm just in time. So, I mean, if this works for black, then you cannot play bishop g5, and then the whole idea probably is quite decent, because after knight c4, queen f6, I mean, knight e3 is... I was completely mystified by what you were doing, but, I mean...
Yeah, but what else?
I thought normal move is bishop e3 here.
Knight f4.
Knight f4 takes, and play knight e3 here. I have to, I think, play knight d4. Takes. And for instance, you have c3, and the position will be more or less completely equal. Maybe you have slight pull, maybe not. Or you
C3'ten
can
sonra
play
belki de
knight
vaziyet
g5,
beraber
queen g5, queen
olabilirdi.
f3, but this I thought was okay for me because I can just take and go back to g4 and... I mean, I thought that was okay, but basically I should not be better. And after knight e3, I have not one but two options which I think give me advantage, because my first idea was just to play knight d4 without thinking.
Yeah, but I didn't see after queen
Ümumiyyətlə
c5.
düşünmədən
After
at
queen c5,
D4'ü oynamaq
it's
əsas
very
ideyam.
strange, because if I start with this, I think you're okay after king g2. I think, and it's some kind of a draw. Because knight f4, I think you absolutely have to go forward. But this seemed to hold for you somehow.
Oh, but I thought, why not king f1?
King f1 loses on the spot, no? Come on.
Queen
Come on.
f3?
Come on, yeah. You can just resign here.
Really?
Yeah, no, but this is completely lost. If you could play like this, I mean, no, I mean, this is completely lost, because knight d5, bishop g4, I give mate, and knight f5, for instance, queen h1, queen e4 wins on the spot.
But knight g2?
What?
Knight g2, knight f4?
Knight g2, the simplest way is to go knight f4, yeah. Bishop f4, bishop h3. I think it's just mate, to be honest. Or maybe
mat
even
olabilir.
maybe I have time for this also. I mean, and bishop h3 is kind of hard to stop, you know. No, I mean, you absolutely have to go forward. But I think this might be holding for you, because queen g5, knight g4. And I don't know. So maybe I have to go knight h5 check, and it's a draw. But more interesting is, of course, to start with this. And now gh, knight f3, I think is completely resignable. So I think you have to go king f1, knight f3, and now you have to go knight d5. Knight h2, king e2, bishop g4 check. And for instance, f3, I thought bishop f3, king g3. But I think maybe I'm winning after queen h4. So I was very, very comfortable with all this, to be honest. But then I thought after knight d4 you
Vəzir
can
h4'dan
take.
sonra qalib gəldiyimi düşünürdüm.
And you can play knight f5, bishop f5, e5, queen f5, and now some move like bishop e3 or bishop f4, and try to sort of...
Okay, you're better.
Yes, but that's why I was so mystified, because basically I have a choice between two moves here, both of which seem to be sort of between better and winning for me. So, and the thing was, it would be probably better for me to have one such move here, because then I wouldn't have to spend so much time. I took something like maybe 30 minutes again on knight takes g2, simply because both things look so attractive. It's just, it was impossible to choose. But finally I thought this is just winning on the spot, because you cannot take with the knight, obviously, yeah, because I take, you take on c5, I take on h3, knight e3, and rook d8. And I thought this was completely winning, because queen c6, queen d6, I think is the only move, but I should eventually win this position somehow, because the king is so weak. So king g2, and we get to this position, and I was absolutely convinced this was completely winning. I couldn't see any defense, but after rook f1, I had maybe 40 minutes left, and I spent yet another half an hour on the next move, and I couldn't find anything. I think it kind of depends on what we were discussing. Yeah, rook d8. I almost played this immediately, because I thought, okay, queen c5, queen h5, king g2, rook d6. I should be winning completely, but then I realized you have f3. Rook g6, knight g4, And now rook takes g4 is a perpetual, or I can take on f3. King f3 and take with the rook. And once again, I have no idea what this is.
It should be a draw. I mean, I have a lot of moves here.
Yeah,
Even king f2.
probably something like king f2 will eventually hold. Yeah, I don't think I will win this position somehow, because I only have two attacking pieces, and once the king gets to e1, it will be hard to give a lot of checks. And also, I might even run out of checks. You know, something. I mean, I don't even see any immediate draw for me here. You know, my problem was I thought, you know, if I go for this and there's no perpetual, I will look incredibly silly. Of
But
course.
did you also check another
I mean, I can,
possibility?
you know, I am never losing. I mean, there's a draw even here, but what do you mean? Where?
I mean, here the fourth line, queen f4 and queen takes on e4, let's say.
Yeah,
First
but
line.
first of all,
Because it's fourth, let's say, can you check?
I'm not. I wasn't so in love with the idea of taking on e4 in general, because I thought if I take on e4, yeah, but it's difficult. It's difficult to figure out. I mean, maybe the machine says I'm winning here, but I couldn't see how. Yeah, maybe here you can. Maybe knight 6 is very strong. Yeah, but once again, I didn't want to allow white to return with any of his pieces. I mean, it looks like I'm allowing some pieces to come back. And also, I missed something very simple. Basically, I spent half an hour because I was checking all these moves. I was checking bishop a7, for instance, which I think is a very decent move. But I think you have to go knight f5. Did you consider bishop
Bishop
a7?
f7, no. No, okay, I was
Also-
I was very concentrating on rook d8. And
No. Also, I think c3 maybe is okay even here, but I wasn't sure. But my biggest problem was you can play knight f5, and now the difference is, I mean, it's a legal move because there's no e4 check there. And if I take bishop f2, you have queen d3. And this is not mate, and if it's not mate, once again, I might actually be worse, because the attack kind of collapses. And I thought rook a d8. This was very attractive, but then we played knight g3. And, I mean, I have a fantastic initiative here, because your next move is not obvious, but let's say I can play h5 even. But it was very hard for me because it stops being completely forced. We're both making moves, and maybe I'm winning, maybe I'm not. And also, probably c3 is quite strong here, but I don't know. And finally, I thought, okay, I will play bishop d6 because the idea was to meet c3. Knight f5 is now impossible, of course, because there's e4 check, and the idea was to play c3, rook e8. And I thought, this is very clever because you cannot take the knight, and I win one tempo, and then if the rook comes to e6, the game is over. But I forgot about bishop d1, which is a problem. So I don't know, maybe here already, I mean, I have to, if I had like an hour left, I can, in the final position, I can take on b3, queen b3, queen e4, and we
queen
can.
c4.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure at all I was better, to be honest. Queen c4, not queen d5. Queen c4 is very precise, and after queen g6, for instance, queen g4. And I have to go into an endgame. And the endgame will be, I think, completely unclear. And by the time we got to this position, I had 5 minutes left against half an hour, and I'm not at all sure I'm better here. So I decided to take a practical decision. But it's very sad that I didn't find anything in this position. I don't know what the machine says, but
Because you still have feeling it should be winning.
no, it looks so fantastic. And also, I mean, to get this position against Sergey, normally my black games against Sergey go like, we come out of the opening and my position is very passive and also quite bad. And then I somehow struggle, and sometimes I make a draw and sometimes I don't. And today, instead of it, I got a mating attack somehow. And I don't think I will get another mating attack against Sergey in the next couple of years. So I feel a bit sad about letting this go. But maybe it's nothing special. It's very, I mean, I did spend my entire time looking for something and didn't find anything, so maybe it's not there. I don't know.
You said you made a practical decision in the end, and was it influenced by tournament situation? Let's
No,
say, because
in
six people
in terms of tournament situation, I should
Taktiki
play on.
kararlar vermeyeniz bugünkü oyunda
No, I think
cedvelindeki
if I
vaziyette
consider the
nasıl oldu
tournament
mu?
situation, I should play on because I think for Fabiano is winning and Boris has won. So
Burada Boris
I
Gelfand'ın galip
needed
geldiğini
to-
attık ve
I very much needed, to try and
Caruana
win
da
this
galip
position,
gelir
but,
çok güman ki.
I don't think, you know, this is such a great chance for a win, to be honest. As I said, I'm not convinced I'm better.
Yani tam burada üstün olduğumu iddia...
Да, да. Нет, я считал, что конь d4, слон d4, конь f5, e ферзь f5, и, например, в этой позиции слон f4, ферзь f4, ладья e2. Ну, после ферзь, скорее всего, я даю мат, нет? Может быть, но... Может быть, сильно не удивляет меня.
But maybe you could have tried to play queen g6 immediately.
А почему?
White should be winning, Peter asks.
Ну, ощущение как бы да, но с другой стороны...
That's the impression I got.
Тоже еще как бы вся игра впереди, нет?
Well, the whole
Как
game
по виду.
was just ahead.
Хотят ферзь e3, ферзь e3, ферзь g3 перевестись. То есть тоже еще надо доказывать, что у меня так хорошо здесь.
I have to prove that I have better position here.
But also, my major worry was that after knight d4, bishop d4, and some move like knight f5, you know, to be honest, I forgot I can take on b2 here.
Belki de burada unuttum. Belki de
But even
götürdüm.
this, you know,
F5.
it will be very hard to win this position.
Ama belə pozisiyada bile galip gelmeye çətin olardı.
Because white will have a lot of counterplay along the open files, and I think,
Çünki
you know,
açıq
this
festivalda
might be holdable for white.
Ağında əks
And,
maraqlı
you
əks
know,
gedişləri ola
basically
bilərdi.
at this point I thought, you
Bax
know,
burada mən düşündüm
after
ki,
knight d4, first of all, I
at
couldn't see a
D4-dən
forced
sonra
win.
burada
And
məcburi
secondly,
qələbəni
I
görmədim.
felt that knight takes d4 offers white
At D4-ü götürməklə,
a chance to bail out
yəni burada artıq mənim bir şans yaranır.
and liquidate into some position, which, of course, is very pleasant for me, but
Pozisiya
I no
verdi.
longer give mate. And I really wanted to give mate in this
Mat
position
vermək
because,
istəyirdim.
as I said, I mean,
Mütləq şəkildə mat
when
vermək
will I have a
istəyirdim.
second chance, you know, like
İkinci
that.
şans olsa mənim Karjakin
Objectively,
bizə
maybe
şansım
knight d4
yaransın.
is stronger, but
At the
first of all, I
4
thought knight
obyektiv olaraq
g2
daha
is winning, and
güclüydü.
secondly, I
What about this possible
no, this
moves?
is a
Still unclear.
perfectly possible move, of course.
Мümkün.
But, но я не понимал, что происходит, допустим, что происходит. с этой
I
камерой.
didn't know what was going on. I couldn't realize what was actually happening.
No, but
Neither-
basically,
neither did
I have
the audience.
so many options that it's incredibly hard to pick one.
Yəni seçmək çox çətin bu qədər variantların arasından.
One of the maybe the biggest problem I have in this position is that, you know, the choice is so wide.
Abi, o qədər variantların var idi ki burada.
It's
Ən böyük
impossible.
problemi
It's
də bu.
impossible to pick something
Seçmək
and
çox
stick with it.
çətin idi. Ani.
I
Ani
mean,
seçmək çox
maybe
çətin.
knight e6 here is winning. I mean,
Peki bu knight-
this I did not consider, to be
Bunu
honest.
nəzərə almadım.
I thought after
sözünüzü.
king h3 I have to play. No, okay. If king g2 is the only move, no. But then of course I should do this.
Ondan sonra bunu
Yeah,
eləməliydim.
then of course I should do this. This is fantastic. For me.
Bu da fantastik olardı bunu oynasaydım.
But as I said, I missed bishop g1. I thought bishop d6 was winning.
Fil D1-i gözdən qaçırdım.
Sergey, would you like to add something about this game?
Sergey Karjakin
No, I
hələ ki
think-
sakit qalıb, bəlkə onu da dinləyək.
I think Peter showed all the main lines.
Bütün
I can
əsas
only say that I
gedişləri
blundered
Peter Svidler
like 3 or
göstərdi.
4 things when I played knight e3. So, I mean, I didn't want to allow it, of course, but what to do? Then I was defending, and yeah.
Nə edə bilərdim?
Okay. Thank you very much for great
Təşəkkür
comments.
edirik hər ki bizim şahmat.